Bill Henshaw here again, Constitutional Cook Headquarters. And those of you who watch my recent videos know I'm doing a lot of work and research on California district courts. The more I do, the better it looks. If we have a way out, and we must have if the Constitution remains in effect, this looks like it. And the good news for us here in the Golden State, quote unquote, is it's clear in black and white. Um, that the Constitution of 1849 exists and that California District Court and District Judge exist, neither of which has anything to do with the quote unquote superior courts out here or any member of the State Bar Association. So, really good news. And even good news in your jurisdiction because we're going to make the argument that it doesn't matter where you are. What's true in California must be true there. For all the states admitted up to Minnesota in 1859 into this union, they had judicial courts, and those courts would have had concurrent uh, judicial power of a federal circuit court. And you can get in there in a court that we should be in, ask some real questions with some real issues, and get answers. And if not, we have the right to trial by jury according to the course of the common law. That's the check and balance on these runaway bastards, especially in Washington, D.C., my former hometown. So that said, and by the way, that right to trial by jury is available to inhabitants of territories for crying out loud. Northwest Ordinance of 1787, yet nowhere in sight today in California or the jurisdiction you're in. How did we get there, you might ask? And that's the $64,000 question, as they used to say when I was growing up as a kid. That's, of course, chump change now, but at that time. And I have a lot of answers there, and you can get them. Send me an email, youwinincourt@gmail.com, for information on my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets. And when you do that, I'll send you a complimentary copy of a love letter I just drafted to the governor of your state, quote unquote, and it may be a territorial governor, but it doesn't matter. And the chief justice of your state too, asking him where the hell this judicial court is. There needs to be one in every county and every state admitted into this union, and they're not there. That's the winning ticket because no judicial courts, no judicial process, no trial by jury, all the laws on the books they think are applicable, and they aren't for a variety of reasons, are null and void, nunc pro tunc ab initio as bills of attainder. Taking of life, liberty, or property without judicial process. Get the hell out of there with that BS due process of the non-existent 14th War Amendment that wasn't designed to do anything, and indeed it doesn't, except in the rare cases where they have to make it look good. So this is the kind of question we want to be asking. You'll learn how to do that. Send me an email, youwinincourt@gmail.com, for information on my materials. And you get a lot of bonus documents, including the one I just said with it's about a 9-page letter right now to the governor and chief justice saying in no uncertain terms, but comparatively friendly, we know there's a judicial court in our county. We need you to tell us where the hell it is. And bear in mind, the governor, even the territorial governor, has the sworn duty to see the laws are faithfully executed. Where I come from, that easily includes telling law enforcement thugs, aka in my day is peace officers. We never had anything like this when I was growing up. But you advise these bastards not to confuse us with JP Morgan, Guaranty Trust, IBM, Microsoft, corporate entities. That's all these quote unquote state laws apply to, and they probably can't prove you're one either. And they have the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Doesn't matter what setting, mortgage loans, student loans, IRS, vehicle code, you name it. They're not a person, which in the statute ought to be in capital letters, and it isn't. That's already misleading. because that's all the 14th Amendment citizen did, was to create corporate birthright citizenship. Now, if you knew that, you would know you weren't one. You would also know that they can't affect service process on you, because to do it for corporations, you have to serve their designated agent for service to process here in Sacramento, where I am. And wouldn't you know, I don't have one. I don't need one. And you probably don't either. That's how good this stuff is getting with this California District Court. And the good news for other jurisdictions, and I'll be taking some cases on in the capacity of a private attorney general and or next friend. You can check in with me about that. And we can do it here, because whatever we do here in the state judicial court will have full faith and credit in your jurisdiction. Article 4, Section 2, I believe, the U.S. Constitution, full faith and credit. Might be 4.1, but it's 4.1 or 4.2. And even if we're in territory, it's even better, because if we're in the territory of California, it's not a foreign jurisdiction, for example, to the territory of North Carolina, Kentucky, Georgia, you name it. They're all the same jurisdiction, aren't they? So what we can do here, we can transfer to there with the judicial order, and we might be doing it ourselves. There's a lot of interesting things here, and they recognize a lot of power we have, particularly the sovereign body politic of the nation and republic and the state of California. And get used to it, people. Right now, that's free white male and 21. It's the way it was. That's the way it is. That's the way it's going to be, unless or until the Constitution is amended in conformance with that document, not in contravention of it. And among some of the documents you get with my papers, that's the main email, youwinIncourt@gmail.com. I have a brief on the 14th Amendment that destroys it, a 41-page motion to dismiss that lays just about everything else to sleep. And if you're going to go in there and say there are no states, you better do it with attitude and with authority. I have an 83-page brief on that subject alone. No states, no judicial courts, bills of attainder, no government. And yes, I do make anarchist arguments here, but we're not the anarchists. They are. That's what we have to get across, even in their corrupt courts. And who knows what limits, if any, there are on removing a case to, in effect, the California District Court or the equivalent in your jurisdiction. That's a judicial court, and we have a right to be there from day one. That's what's exciting about all this. We make this work, so nothing they can do. And wouldn't you know how nice this is? No state bar association attorney, judge, or whatever can come into our court unless we let them. I don't know about you, but I'm not planning on it. With all the acts of treason they've committed, and especially with the state bar association attorney who's been to law school 4 to 6 years, have a sworn oath to be bound by this Constitution and the laws enacted in pursuance thereof, and they don't know any better. What do they always admonish us, condescendingly and all this crap? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, that's going to come back to bite them in the ass, and it's going to come back and do it with strict liability acts of treason to the Constitution. That's how much power we have here. We just have to get it going and get into the right court. And once we start to do that, everything else will follow. It's not going to be perfect when we get the nation and republic restored, granted that. But then going back to what we have, we can make changes and do it the right way and get things done and improve the government from what it was. It was the best one ever devised, was and is. We've had no other nation ever start out recognizing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, human life, human values. Nowhere else has that ever happened. That's what I want to get back. It's my mission in life. Do I get across the Red Sea with you? I don't know. And I'm going to do my best to leave a path to make that as easy as possible. I will have done the job I was put here to do. So that said, for information and the complimentary document, to your Chief Justice and your governor, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll get the information out to you. I mean, it's a whole new world out there when you know the truth. It's just astounding. And that's why, for me, at the age of 73, I'm still going strong. My life is ahead of me. It's hopefully very far from over. With family genes and whatnot, I got a good 8 or 10 years, maybe longer than that. And the COD for me isn't going to be COVID, maybe pneumonia, who knows, but it's not going to be that. So thank goodness for that. And like I say, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com, noting here that I have your backs. As you get my materials, you get complimentary phone consultations with it, a lot of TLC via email, complimentary updates on all documents for a year, and even a complimentary Zoom appearance at a contested hearing. I am going to be there, and they're not going to like it. Now you have an expert witness coming in there. They can't keep me off the witness stand, even in their corrupt courts. They already tried that and failed in my Oakland, California case. Had to offer from a guy I was helping there a time served plea deal for 14 felonies, because they couldn't have me on there testifying in front of a jury and educating one of them. That's how good all this stuff is. It really is. That's it. Remember to subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. As soon as we all start working together and cut out this divide and conquer BS they've been doing for way too long, the sooner we get these bastards off our back. Thank you.